Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Hadira and I will be your host for today. This webinar is brought to you by Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia. Please do scan the QR on screen to check in. Joining me is Mr. Mok Yew Wai, Head of Distribution Personal and Affluent Segment from Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia. Welcome, Mok. Today, Mok will be sharing us a very interesting topic, which is on his insights and strategies on how to future-proof your career as a relationship manager and how Standard Chartered Bank could provide the tools to enhance your career in relationship management, as well as how you can scale up to work in a fast-paced global environment. Just a side note, we will mute everyone during this webinar. So if you have any questions, please raise them during the QR session, or you can also type your questions into the chat box. Now let's kick off the session. Over to you, Mok.
Thanks, Adira. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Maybe just to kickstart, tell you a little bit about myself and what I do in Standard Chartered Bank. Unlike a lot of my colleagues in the banking industry and the peers in the financial services, I'm not a career banker, all right? For the first 12 years of my life, I was doing IT and IT-related businesses or industry across many multinationals, and I had fortunately been able to work all around the world, United States and everywhere else. So overnight, I've decided to change my career to financial services, all right? Why such a drastic move? In fact, a lot of people didn't know this. I actually took a pay cut to join the banking industry. So if you ask, why such a radical move? For the simple fact that I've never done financial services before because I was in IT, and I wanted to learn about financial services. So now in Standard Chartered, after 16 years, obviously and hopefully I've made the right decision. So where do I start in Standard Chartered Bank? I started in sales. Well, throughout my career has been sales and marketing. All right, so that's what made the transition a little easier. I started as a sales manager in Standard Chartered Bank. Now, throughout 16 years, I've done many roles. Today, I run the distribution department or team in consumer banking. So what does distribution entail? Essentially, it comprises of all the frontline folks, all right, client engagement frontline. So all the branches will be part of, all the branches nationwide in Standard Chartered Bank will be part of the distribution job family. It includes every single salesperson that meets a client, all right? It also encompasses the Price Solutions subsidiary, the third-party sales, our telesales team, and I can go on, include our corporate sales and everything. So essentially, every single salesperson or frontline staff or service staff that engages a client is part of the distribution family. So we're a pretty sizable family, about 1,000 folks, all right? Quite a close-knitted family. So that's distribution. That's what I do. Yeah.
Thank you, Mok. What a journey you've had in sales and with Standard Chartered itself. The first strategy is actually to keep your career path open. So I would like to start by asking, based on your experience, how has the industry changed over time? And could you please share your insights about keeping the career path open as a strategy?
Sure, Hadira. Much has changed. Not only the industry, the world. Look at what happened in the last couple of years, right? Even the way we live our lives has changed. But specific to financial services, since the financial crisis back in 2008, and now with the pandemic, it has changed the customers' wealth and financial needs quite a little bit, all right? From the way they invest, their wealth advisory, the demands from the client, instead of investing locally, probably looking at more global opportunity. But even the way we engage a client has changed digitally. For example, you take our RM today. In just the recent past, if you were to need to engage a client, you have to make an appointment and see a client face-to-face. Basically, maybe to provide advisory on insurance or help a client open an account and everything. Today, I think most of you know, you can open an account online. Even advisory products, we can actually do that non-face-to-face virtual to online and digital products. Today, our RMs, what do? In the past, if you were to walk to a client with a piece of paper and spend 2 hours, today we can do it on an app. So in Standard Chartered Bank, for our RMs, we have something called My RM. We just launched an app where you not only can communicate with a client, you can also do transactions with a client. at any time of the day. So if the client is not free to meet you, you can put a transaction through, and the client can accept it anytime. So that has dramatically changed the way we behave and we engage clients and how we do things. All right, and the beauty is in Standard Chartered Bank, because we are a global bank, we are pretty advanced in rolling out technologies, especially digitizing the way we do things. But just to add to that, because of all these changes, it presents lots of opportunity in terms of career growth. All right, that's what you say, Hadira. So talking about career growth, I like to bring up an amazing example. Take our CEO, Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia, current CEO, Mr. Mok Yew Wai. All right, he started many, many years ago, almost a quarter of a century ago, as a management trainee. All right, so obviously through hard work, upskilling himself and all those, he's managed to go through a lot of roles in many, many countries across the world. And eventually now today, he's the CEO of Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia. From a management trainee, you can actually get there to become a CEO. Not many banks presents that sort of opportunity, all right? And closer to the subject on RMs, RM also have ample opportunity within the country itself or within Standard Chartered Bank. If you start as an RM, where can you graduate onto? Of course, for an RM, you can become a senior RM after you acquired all the knowledge and experiences, and eventually become a priority private director to handle ultra high net worth clients. Now, if you get bored of the local scene, you say, I want to do something else outside of Malaysia. Well, that's where Standard Chartered comes into the picture. All right, we operate in more than 100 countries, more than 50 markets. So today itself, we make it a point to move more than 100 RMs across border, across every country. As I speak, there's 3 of our colleagues in Malaysia is preparing to move to Singapore for good, to become an RM in Singapore. Now, if you're saying, wow, I'm more ambitious than that, beyond just traveling in other countries to become an RM within Standard Chartered Bank, I want to do even more. Of course, if you don't want to take up a management position, you can continue on your RM journey into become a private banker. All right? We have large hubs in UAE, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And many of our private bankers today in Singapore actually started as RM in Malaysia. So global changes may be a little confusing, but presents lots of opportunity for us to learn and grow, and especially, to follow your career path and grow to probably become a CEO one day.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So it's good to hear that in particularly the Standard Chartered Bank, we don't box relationship managers into one role. They can basically spread their wings into private banking and even aim for exciting international opportunities, right, Mok?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's very insightful. So the next strategy is to learn and to prioritize learning and development. So in my opinion, Mok, learning and development are definitely a huge game changer in our professional journey. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, we say the world is changing. No doubt we have to learn. We have to learn to wear a mask, all right? And we're still wearing a mask, some of us, all right? And as you want to advance your career, obviously the faster you learn, the quicker you acquire knowledge, will enable you to move your career onwards quicker. But in Standard Chartered, we don't believe in just you doing it yourself. So we put in a lot of thought into building curriculums to advance our RM as quickly as possible. Whether it's from an RM to a priority private director, or going overseas or become private bankers. We invest very heavily into our own staff in grooming our RMs, all right? And one of the examples I can give you this evening is a program that we work with, a very, very prestigious graduate school that's based in Europe. I'm sure most of you have heard of INSEAD. So we have a very tailor-made program for our RMs, all right? Which entails a couple of years of, it could be a couple of years, couple of months of training and graduation certification, which will take an RM from local training base through to Singapore, all right? And potentially, eventually, for the better RMs, we actually send them to INSEAD in Europe, in Paris, for graduation. And we don't do this just for Malaysia. We do this globally for Standard Chartered Bank, all right?
Oh, wow. Are you saying that this program's already in place, Mok?
Oh, absolutely. We started it more than a year ago. And again, as we speak, we have a few RMs who is packing their bags, heading to Singapore in the next 2 weeks. And we have a few priority private directors who are going to Paris for their graduation as well in the chilly November, December, before Christmas. All right? Hopefully they can do some shopping before they come back. Okay.
Wow, that's interesting. I think INSEAD Wealth Academy is something that all of you should consider. It's a great opportunity for you to enhance your knowledge and also develop your career. And it's a very unique proposition from Standard Chartered Bank. So moving on to the third strategy. So how then can we become industry's subject matter expert?
The world has changed. You can learn as much as you want, but is that enough? Looking at the current climate, and the demands from the client, to serve a client better, obviously you need a little bit more than that. All right? You need to be a subject matter expert to the extent of, because you need to do that in order to provide the right advisory to clients. So that's where the beauty of being in a global bank comes in. Being a global bank, we have the resources and basically all the resources that we need to keep ourselves updated. For example, for RMs, we have daily updates on how the markets are moving, currencies. You know we have some conflicts in the Middle East, and that generally affects what happens to the markets. So we have daily updates. We have weekly catch-ups. We have monthly coffee chats, all right? Even for the clients itself, we have global market outlooks on a monthly basis, weekly expressos just to keep our clients updated, all right? But more importantly, being a global bank, we are close to the action in every region in the world. And because of that, because we have the experts there, we will be able to consolidate that and download into every one of our RM to make them more knowledgeable and more valuable to our clients, right? When they advise the clients accordingly.
Right, that's one good point. I think the concept of cross-border experience at Standard Chartered Bank has really appealed to me as well. I think it's such an exciting prospect. So just to wrap up the key takeaways for today's session, there are 3 strategies to future-proof your career. So the first point is to keep your career path open. So in Standard Chartered, we have a talent marketplace for internal mobility across markets and business functions. Secondly, to prioritize learning and development. So in Standard Chartered, we leverage on the INSEAD Wealth Academy, which we have in modules delivered by Fitch Learning. And the third point would be to become an industry expert. So in Standard Chartered, we have more than 85,000 employees across 125 countries and 59 markets for cross-border learnings. Thank you, Mok. This has been very insightful. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. We will take some time for questions now. You may leave your questions in the chat box and we'll be answering your questions.
I think we have some questions, Adira.
All right, so let's take the first question from the audience. How does one qualify for the INSEAD program?
Well, first of all, you have to join Standard Chartered Bank, all right, and become an RM. Obviously, like we said just now, through the growth and learning and development and everything you can absorb, you need to be obviously a fairly successful RM. And we will make you into one of them. And from there, there's 2 options. One, we normally select, all right, basically performing individuals for such a program. And also they can apply as well, all right? There'll be a series of training and programs and briefings. Of course, tests, all right? Malaysian way, global way. We have lots of tests. Basically, the test is not to burden anybody. It's a form of certification, all right? And if you pass every test, that's where the hurdles you go through. That's where, as you advance yourself and graduate, all right, you will go into programs in Singapore and eventually into Paris. All right?
Well, I'm sure a lot of our audience are actually attracted with the INSEAD program, Wealth Academy.
I'm not sure if they're interested in INSEAD or Paris, but I hope both. But I hope they are more interested, and you guys are more interested to be part of the Standard Chartered family.
All right, thank you so much, Mok, for the insightful response. So let's go to the second question. What does it take for a relationship manager to do well in the current market situation?
Well, relationship management, categorically, you can say it is a sales job, all right, a client engagement position, and nothing takes away from hard work, all right? But beyond hard work and knowledge and everything that we have spoke about, obviously being able to serve a client in the best way possible will make a difference. Because ultimately, relationship, as the word implies, it is a human-to-human, how should I say, role, all right? It doesn't take away from the interpersonal skills. All right, so being able to engage a client, serve the client better, be prompt, be honest, trustworthy, all right, basic human tenets, right? And do that the best that you can. Generally, coupled with the learnings that you have, the knowledge, generally most people would do well.
Right.
All right.
All right, let's go. Thank you so much for the
Sure.
insightful response, Mok. So let's go to the next question. What sets this standard apart from other competitors?
Well, many banks in Malaysia, many banks globally, but within the Malaysia context, I've not worked for any other bank except Standard Chartered Bank. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty happy about it because Standard Chartered has been able to provide me everything that I need. But from my perspective, being in the industry for the past 15 years or more, I think Standard Chartered, especially in the wealth space, provides one of the most comprehensive suite of wealth products for a client, all right? So that one serves well, bodes well for the client, not only locally, but because of the network and the footprint, we are able to offer clients opportunities outside of Malaysia. Malaysia will be onshore, offshore will be overseas, and also private banking expertise that we have spoke about, all right? So being a global bank with footprints across more than 50 markets does plays a massive part, in giving clients more than what they expect or need from any other bank out there.
Right.
Right?
Okay, here's an interesting question. What are the most challenging part of working in Standard Chartered Bank?
Waking up in the morning? No, just joking. I'm not a good morning person. Most challenging part, I have to say for me, for the past 16 years, not many, because I love what I do. I enjoy being with the team, seeing clients, and if you can somehow find a job that you like to do, nothing's a challenge, all right? Every day is a joy, and I do wake up looking forward to every day, all right? Because I do enjoy being in sales, engaging client, and doing what we do. And being in Standard Chartered, it makes it even more exciting because we got great stuff to tell our clients, great stuff to offer our clients and make them really happy and become part of the Standard Chartered family for a long time. In fact, just a note, recently I just met a client, probably one of the oldest clients in Standard Chartered. This client has been with Standard Chartered since 1966.
Wow, that's a very long
All
time.
right, yeah, still a happy client, and I think that's what the beauty of being Standard Chartered is. Not many banks in Malaysia where you can say we have clients, ultra high net worth clients that have been with us for more than 60 years.
Right.
All right.
Great. We surely have a few other questions there. What does it take for a relationship manager to do well in the current market situation?
I think we spoke about that already.
Oh, that's a repeated question then. Right. What are the key attributes that you look for in a RM? So as a person who lead the sales team for many, many years, so what are the key attributes that you look for in a RM?
I say it's a client-facing job. It is interpersonal. You need a lot of interpersonal skills. Obviously, you need to be somewhat of an extrovert rather than an introvert. All right? You need to be someone who loves speaking to a client, smiling at a client, and basically speaking to people. So one of the basic fundamentals is you must be someone who enjoys going out and meeting clients. All right? But beyond that, obviously, intelligence, because you are dealing with fairly complex financial products, a love for economics, all right, and world market situation and how the market works, you need to be fairly analytical because that will what the client will ask you, all right, and many more qualities out there. But I think ultimately as an RM, your job is to meet a client, make the client trust you, feel good about it, and more importantly, when you advise the client accordingly, it will touch on subject matters that is related to the client global economics and how it works. So you must have some love for finance, economics, and numbers and analytics.
Right.
Right.
Thank you so much, Mok.
Sure.
So let's take 2 or 3 questions more.
Absolutely.
In terms of international opportunities, how many years should you work in one duty station before moving to another country?
Well, it really depends. I've never worked outside of Malaysia in Standard Chartered Bank, but I've worked outside of Malaysia in my previous roles. But if I were to relate to my colleagues, it's not so much how long you should be in a role outside of Malaysia. It's basically how long you should be in a particular role. I think everyone should endeavor to move, I won't say move on, but to upgrade yourself and upskill yourself and do something a little different, probably 2 or 3 years. Anything shorter than that, for lack of a better word, I think you'll be half-cooked. But I think between 3 to 5 years, you'll learn enough, all right? Then you can move on to the next level. Because you don't want to move on and then find yourself, being short of expectation, not being able to perform the job. From my observation so far, 3 years is a good time. For example, for an RM to move to a senior RM, from a senior RM to a priority director, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Right?
We surely have a lot of audience who's interested with the international opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's go to the next question. What kind of products does RM bring?
What kind of expertise you mean?
Yeah, what kind of expertise, I'm guessing?
Well, we'll try to guess what the audience are trying. If I read the question correctly, maybe they say, what would our RM generally offer a client? Or what would RM generally be advising a client on? So like I say, Standard Chartered has a wealth of wealth management products. But generally, given the sophistication in the Malaysian market, there's many, all right? But most of the market, it will be generally protection products, like an insurance and things like that. On investments, like a unit trust or some form of a bond or structured investments. It can get significantly more complicated, like a family trust office, where we have to go offshore to private banking. But generally, I would say in Standard Chartered Bank, whatever our client needs, regardless whether you're from a new graduate up to ultra high net worth clients, we have the whole continuum of products to serve their needs. All right, whether it's onshore or offshore, in Malaysia or globally around the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How long does it take to complete the INSEAD Wealth Academy program, and do they need to pay, or is it funded by the bank?
Well, if the staff is more than happy to pay, we'll take it. Of course not, just a joke. It's all fully funded by the bank. All right, it's part of our investments in our staff. All right, and INSEAD is particularly for our RMs. We want our RMs to grow, so they don't pay a single cent. But how long does it take? It really depends on the individual. So the few individuals I mentioned that's going to Paris, they are very, very good at what they do. Extremely experienced RM. They've done exceptionally well, not only Malaysia, but against their peers and colleagues in the other countries. That's why they were selected for the INSEAD in Paris. So they did it in a short 9 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, but generally I would say within a year or so, if you complete the program, yeah, then you can go to Singapore or Paris.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go to the last question. How does empowering helps employees' morale, productivity, and their decision-making skills?
Well, that's the easiest question if you're in the sales role. Because I always say in the sales role, you're essentially running your own business. All right? The bank gives you some expectation, but it's really up to you to decide what you want to do, how hard you want to work. And generally in sales, the harder you work, the more effort you put in, the more money you earn. It's not a fixed pay job, all right? Although the compensation is extremely attractive. So given that it's your own business, that's the easiest way to motivate yourself. The harder you work, the more you make. Because nothing's fixed, all right? And the more you absorb, like what I say, the faster you grow, all right? And being a sales job, because it's easily measured, all right? It's easy to motivate yourself. You work hard, you get the numbers, you get the compensation that you need. So I think sales job is the easiest one to motivate yourself and to do well.
Right. Thank you very much for your questions, and thank you, Mok, for your
Welcome.
insightful response.
My pleasure.
Looks like that's all the time we have for this evening. Before we close, don't forget to join our next session on the 29th November. We'll be speaking to the chairman of Standard Chartered Malaysia and trailblazer of women in banking, which is Dato Yvonne Chia, and along with Samir, managing director and head of consumer, private and business banking. So for the registration updates, stay connected with us on Standard Chartered social media and LinkedIn pages. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. Do scan the QR code on screen to answer some of the questions for the session today. If you have any questions, please reach us out, and details will be indicated in the chat box below. So take care and see you soon.